The massive crystal spires of the Galactic Concord gleamed under three suns. J-Ho stood tall before the council, trying to hide his frustration. 5 years as Earth's diplomat had taught him patience, but today it was wearing thin. Earth remains, classified as a Class 5 death world, said Head Counselor Derek, his blue skin shimmering as he moved. The rules cannot be changed. J-Ho looked at the floating hologram of Earth. His home. A place where storms could level cities, where oceans could swallow islands, where the very ground sometimes split open. To humans it was simply home. To the galaxy it was a nightmare. Our colonies have shown nothing but peace, J-Ho said. We have followed every rule for 15 years. Counselor Derek waved a long, thin hand. Rules exist for reasons human. Your species developed on a planet that would kill most sentient beings within days. Your bodies can process toxins that would destroy most life forms. Your bones are dense enough to survive falls that would shatter others. You are, by definition, dangerous. The other council members nodded. 20 different species, all from worlds gentler than Earth. None of them truly understood what it meant to be human. Minji, J-Ho's assistant, stood quietly at his side. She passed him a small data pad. The message made his heart beat faster. Another request from Earth's government to expand to a 4th colony world had been denied. The current limits will remain, continued Derek. 3 colony worlds. No military vessels larger than defense class. No weapons research. No expansion beyond your current space. J-Ho took a deep breath. And what of our people who wish to work throughout the Concord? Will those rules change? A small insect-like being clicked its mandibles. Humans may continue to serve in support roles where their physical advantages are useful. Support roles. Manual labor. Security in dangerous areas. Jobs no one else wanted. After 15 years in the Concord, humans were still treated like useful animals rather than equals. The session is ended, announced Derek. Outside the chamber, Minji touched J-Ho's arm. You did your best. It's not enough, he said. They see us as barely controlled savages. They walked through the grand hallway of the Concord headquarters. Beings from hundreds of worlds moved about their business. Humans were easy to spot. They walked faster, stood straighter, moved with a purpose that many other species found unsettling. Ambassador J-Ho, called a voice. They turned to see Lonnie, a furred being from a low-gravity world. Her species, the Vril, had been among the first to welcome humans to the galactic community. I heard the session went poorly, she said, her large eyes sad. I had hoped for better news. Nothing changes, said J-Ho. We remain contained. Lonnie's fur rippled in what humans had learned was a sign of disagreement. Many of us see the value humans bring. Your adaptability, your creativity, the rules will change in time. Time is something we may not have, said Minji. Earth is overcrowded. Our colonies are reaching their limits. As they spoke, J-Ho noticed a commotion at the far end of the hall. A messenger was running, actually running, toward the council chamber. No one ran in the Concord headquarters, it simply wasn't done. Something's wrong, he said. Moments later, their communication devices buzzed with an emergency alert. All diplomats were to return to their offices immediately. In their office, J-Ho and Minji watched the emergency broadcast. A Concord science vessel had discovered something at the edge of known space. An ancient technology had awakened. 3 peaceful worlds were already reporting attacks from automated weapon systems of unknown origin. The Concord will debate this for weeks before they act, said Minji. J-Ho watched as images of destruction flashed across the screen. One of the affected worlds was Vril, Lonnie's homeworld. His communication device chimed. It was a direct call from Earth Command. We're getting the same reports, said General Seo. The Concord has asked all member worlds to send representatives to an emergency session tomorrow. Tomorrow? J-Ho couldn't hide his shock. People are dying now. That's how they work, said the general. They will follow procedure no matter the cost. After the call ended, Jae-ho stood at the window looking out at the perfect, ordered beauty of the conquered capital. For the first time in years, he felt a strange kind of hope. Not because of the crisis, the loss of life sickened him, but because finally, the galaxy might need what humans did best: break the rules when rules weren't enough. "Minji," he said, quietly, "contact our specialists, all of them. Tell them to be ready." "Ready for what?" she asked. Jae-ho turned from the window, his decision made. To show the galaxy what Deathworlders can do when it matters. The emergency session room buzzed with voices from 20 different species. 6 hours had passed and still no action was taken. Jae-ho sat quietly, watching as fear turned the Concord Council into a picture of indecision. "We must study this. Threat before we act," said Counselor Mira, her thin body swaying like a reed. "Our records have no mention of such technology." "While you study, people die," said Jae-ho, his voice cutting through the noise. Every eye in the room turned to him. "The human speaks out of turn," noted Derek coldly. "The human speaks the truth," replied Jae-ho. 3 worlds are under attack. The death count rises by the hour." Derek's blue skin darkened with anger. "And what would you have us do? Rush in without understanding? That is the human way, perhaps, but not the conquered way." A soft chime interrupted them. More bad news. The attacks had spread to a 4th world. Minji leaned close to Jae-ho. "The Starlight is docked at Bay 12. It's the fastest ship in the conquered fleet. Crew," he whispered. "Minimal. Most are at the emergency briefing." Jae-ho nodded slightly. He had already decided. Now he just needed the right moment. As the council argued over proper procedures, Jae-ho slipped from the room. No one noticed. His departure. Humans were often overlooked, unless they were needed for their strength or endurance. In the quiet corridor outside, he sent 5 messages. Within minutes, 5 humans gathered around him. Each was chosen for a special skill. "What?" "I'm asking is against every conquered rule," Jae-ho told them. "If we're caught, Earth will face sanctions. If we fail, people will keep dying." Dae-sung, a pilot with quick hands and quicker reflexes, smiled. "You had me at against every rule." Jinnah, an engineer who could make machines work long after they should have failed, nodded. "Those are my friends on Vril. I won't sit here while they die." "The conquered way isn't always the right way," added Minho, a weapons specialist whose knowledge of ancient tech had earned him respect even among the cautious conquered. Soo-jin, a doctor who had treated more species than most Concord medical schools even studied, simply said, "When do we leave?" Minji, who had followed Jae-ho from the council room, completed their circle. "We'll need access codes for the Starlight." Minho held up a small device. "Already handled. Being considered dangerous has its uses." They moved through the station with purpose. No one questioned 6 humans walking together. It was assumed they were a work crew, headed to some job no one else wanted. Bay 12 was nearly empty. 2 guards stood by the entry to the Starlight, but they were Zentari, a species known for their strict adherence to routine. "Follow my lead," said Soo-jin, approaching them with a worried expression. "Medical emergency in Bay 8. A Zentari officer collapsed." The guards looked at each other, their concern obvious. Zentari were deeply communal. An injury to one was felt by all. "We will check," said one guard. "I'll go with you," Soo-jin offered. "The others can watch the ship." As Soo-jin led the guards away, the remaining 5 humans slipped aboard the Starlight. Jinnah went straight to the engine room while Dae-sung took the pilot's seat. "How long before they realize we're gone?" asked Minho. "Not long," said Jae-ho. "Maybe 20 minutes before someone notices we left the council meeting. Another 10 before they check the bays. I can have us beyond tracking range in 15, said Dae-sung confidently. Soo-jin returned, slightly out of breath. The guards are looking for their non-existent injured comrade. We have a small head start. Start the launch sequence, ordered Jae-ho. The ship hummed to life. Dae-sung's fingers danced over the controls with practiced ease. The Starlight was built for speed, designed to carry Concord diplomats to crisis points quickly. Today, it would carry something the Concord feared far more: humans acting on their own initiative. As the ship lifted off, alarms began to sound throughout the station. "They've noticed," said Minji. "Too late," replied Dae-sung as he pushed the engines to full power. The Starlight shot from the bay, heading for open space. The communication system crackled. Derek's angry voice filled the bridge. "Return immediately. You have no authorization for this action." Jae-ho took a deep breath and replied, "We have the authorization of our conscience. People are dying while you debate. We're going to stop. This is a violation of every protocol. Earth will be held responsible." Jae-ho looked at his small crew, each face showing the same determination. "Then let Earth be judged by our actions. Starlight out." He cut the communication. Behind them, 3 Concord security vessels launched in pursuit. Ahead lay unknown danger and the breaking of rules that had stood for centuries. But humans had always been good at breaking rules, especially when those rules stood in the way of doing what was right. "Set course for the edge of known space," said Jae-ho. "Let's show the galaxy what Deathworlders can do." The Starlight raced through space faster than any Concord security vessel could follow. Inside, the small crew of humans worked with quiet focus. They had broken the biggest rule in the Concord. They had stolen a ship and were acting without approval. 2 hours until we reach the attack zone," said Dae-sung from the pilot's seat. His hands moved steadily over the controls, guiding the ship through the emptiness between stars. Jenna looked up from the engine displays with worry on her face. "The engines are running too hot. This ship wasn't meant to fly at top speed for so long. Can you keep them working?" asked Jae-ho. Jenna smiled slightly. "I grew up fixing boats during typhoon season on Earth. I can keep anything running." Minho studied the data coming in from the attacked worlds. "The pattern makes no sense. These planets have nothing in common. Different species, different resources, different technologies." "There must be a connection," said Minji. "Nothing attacks randomly." Sujin joined them on the bridge carrying medical supplies. "If we're heading into danger, we should be ready. I've prepared emergency kits for everyone." The ship suddenly shook violently. Warning lights flashed across every screen. What was that? Jae-ho grabbed a rail to stay standing. Dae-sung's fingers flew over the controls. "We've entered a radiation field. It wasn't on any of the charts." "Radiation levels?" asked Soo-jin, immediately concerned. "Higher than Concord safety protocols allow," said Minji, checking the sensors. "Any other species would turn back." Jae-ho looked at his team. Humans had evolved on a planet bombarded by radiation from their sun. Their bodies could handle levels that would kill most species in the Concord. "We go forward," he decided. "How long through the field?" "About 30 minutes at our current speed," said Dae-sung. Jinna's voice came over the communication system from the engine room. "The radiation is affecting some of the ship's systems. I can fix them, but I need time." "Can we slow down?" asked Jae-ho. Dae-sung shook his head. "If we slow down, we stay in the radiation longer. Better to push through fast." It was a difficult choice, but Jae-ho had made his decision when they left the Concord. "Keep our speed. Jinna, do what you can with the engines." The next 30 minutes felt like hours. Systems failed across the ship. The air grew stale as life support struggled. The lights flickered, but the humans pressed on, their bodies handling the stress better than the ship itself. When they finally broke free of the radiation field, a cheer went up from the crew. "That's why the Concord ships haven't made it through," said Minho. "Their crews couldn't survive that radiation." "And why they haven't sent help to the attacked worlds," added Soo-jin. "The safe routes must be blocked." The sensors beeped urgently. They had arrived at the first of the attacked worlds. The planet Vril hung in space before them, beautiful blue-green against the blackness. But around it, destruction was clear. Orbital stations lay in ruins. Ships drifted, damaged beyond repair. "Life signs?" asked Jae-ho. Minji checked the sensors. "Many. The attack was on the stations, not the planet itself." "Something is coming," said Daesung suddenly. Fast. On the main screen, they watched as a small object approached their ship. It was unlike anything they had seen before, a perfect sphere of what looked like liquid metal, moving with purpose. "Is it a weapon?" asked Jeho. Before anyone could answer, the sphere stopped. A beam of light shot out from it, scanning their ship from end to end. "It's scanning us," said Minho, looking for something. The sphere hung motionless for a long moment. Then, surprisingly, it moved away. "It didn't attack," said Sujin with surprise. "Why?" Minho studied the readings from the scan. It was checking our biological signatures. Something about humans must be different from the other attacked ships. The sphere was now moving away at high speed. "Follow it," ordered Jeho. Daesung looked unsure. "We don't know what it is or where it's going." "It's, our only lead," said Jeho, "and it didn't attack us. That means something." The starlight followed the sphere through space, moving past the damaged world of Vril toward something hidden in the darkness. After an hour of careful pursuit, they saw it, a massive structure floating in open space. Not a ship or a station, but something far older. It was roughly round, the size of a small moon, covered in patterns that glowed with inner light. "It's ancient," whispered Minho in awe. "Maybe thousands of years old. Technology from before the Concorde existed." The sphere they had followed disappeared into the structure. "What is it?" asked Minji. Minho studied the readings. I think it's an automated defense system. The spheres are its eyes and weapons. But defending against what? And why is it attacking now after all this time?" As they watched, more spheres emerged from the structure, heading toward other worlds. "We need to stop it," said Jeho. "Whatever it is, whatever it's defending against, it's killing innocent people." "How do we stop something that old and that powerful?" asked Sujin. Jeho looked at his team of humans, adaptable, resourceful Deathworlders who had already done the impossible by getting here. "We do what humans have always done," he said. "We find a way." The starlight hung in space near the ancient moon-sized structure. Inside the ship, the humans worked to understand what they were facing. Minho had not slept in 20 hours, his eyes red as he studied the data. "It's a defense system," he said finally, "built by a species that disappeared thousands of years ago. It was sleeping until something woke it up." "What woke it?" asked Jeho. Minho pointed to a star chart. "New colonies in this sector. The system thinks they're invaders." "But why attack now?" Sujin wondered. "Those colonies have been there for years." Minji looked up from her screen. "There was a scientific expedition 3 weeks ago. They were studying an old ruin. They must have triggered something." The ship's sensors beeped a warning. Daesung checked the readings and frowned. 3 Concorde enforcement vessels approaching," he reported. "They made it through the radiation field." "They'll try to stop us," said Jinna. "And they'll want to study this thing for months before doing anything." Jeho made a quick decision. "We need to shut down this defense system now before it attacks more worlds." "How?" asked Sujin. "We can't just blow it up. It's too big and we don't have weapons that strong." Minho looked thoughtful. "We don't need to destroy it. We need to talk to it. Tell it the colonies aren't invaders." "Can we do that?" asked Jeho. "Maybe," said Minho. "But we'll need to get inside it, find its control center." Jinna checked the ship's systems. "Our scanners show an opening, like a maintenance entry. We could use the small shuttle to reach it." "The radiation around that structure is even stronger than what we passed through," warned Sujin. "Our suits won't provide enough protection for long." Jeho looked at each of his crew members. "I won't order anyone to go. This is volunteer only." "I'll go," said Minho immediately. "I need to see the controls." "You'll need an engineer," added Jinna. "I'm in." Jeho nodded. "I'll go too. 3 of us. The rest stay with the ship." As they prepared the shuttle and their spacesuits, the communication system crackled to life. A stern voice filled the bridge. "Stolen vessel Starlight, this is Concorde enforcement. Power down and prepare to be boarded. You are in violation of multiple regulations." Daesung muted the transmission. "What should I tell them?" "Nothing," said Jeho. We don't have time for their rules now. The small shuttle launched from the starlight carrying Jeho, Minho, and Jinna toward the ancient structure. Behind them, the Concorde ships were closing in. They're sending warning shots, reported Minji over the communication link. Sujin and Daesung are keeping them busy with evasion maneuvers. The shuttle reached the opening in the structure. It was barely large enough for them to fit through. Inside was darkness deeper than space itself. Lights, said Jeho, activating his suit's powerful beam. The light revealed a tunnel that seemed to go on forever. They moved forward slowly, fighting against increasing radiation that made their instruments flicker and fail. My scanner is dead, reported Jinna after 10 minutes of travel. Keep going, said Jeho. We follow the tunnel. They floated through the ancient passage, guided only by their suit lights. The radiation levels climbed higher. Sujin's voice came through their communication links, breaking up with static. Your suits. Radiation. Too high. Come back. We can't turn back, said Minho. His voice was strained with pain, but he kept moving. Humans could endure radiation that would kill other species immediately. But even humans had limits. There, said Gina suddenly, pointing ahead. Light. The tunnel opened into a vast chamber filled with soft blue light. At its center floated what could only be a control panel, a complex arrangement of crystals and metal unlike anything they had seen before. This is it, said Minho, the heart of the defense system. As they approached the controls, small spheres like the ones they had seen earlier emerged from the walls. Dozens of them, surrounding the humans. Don't move, whispered Jeho. They're scanning us. The spheres circled them, beams of light passing over their bodies. Then, as suddenly as they had appeared, all but one retreated back into the walls. The remaining sphere projected a hologram, symbols floating in the air that changed and shifted. It's a language, said Minho. Ancient, but I recognize some patterns from my studies. He moved closer to the control panel, studying the crystals and the hologram together. Minutes passed in tense silence. Jinna helped, connecting patterns in the technology to what they could see in the symbols. Jeho's suit beeped a warning. Radiation exposure critical, said the automated voice. Return to ship immediately. He ignored it. So did the others. Think I understand, said Minho finally. This system was built to protect against an ancient enemy. It sees all new development as that enemy returning. Can we change its programming? Asked Jeho. Minho nodded slowly. I think so, but it will take both Jinna and me working together, and time we don't have in these suits. Jeho made the hardest decision of his life. Take off your helmets. That's suicide, said Jinna. No, said Jeho. It's being human. Our bodies can handle more radiation than our suits can block. Not forever, but long enough. Their eyes met, understanding passing between them. One by one, they removed their helmets. The pain was immediate, burning skin, blurring vision. But their hands remained steady as they worked. Jinna's fingers, blistering from radiation, moved crystals into new patterns. Minho, blood running from his nose, input the commands that would change the system's understanding of friend and foe. As Jeho felt his consciousness slipping, he activated his suit's emergency broadcast function. Every Concorde channel would see what humans were willing to endure to save others. This, he said through cracked lips, is what Deathworlders do. The Grand Council chamber had never been so full. Representatives from 500 worlds packed the seats, standing room, only at the back. At the center of it all stood 3 humans in medical suits designed to help their bodies heal from severe radiation damage. Jeho's skin was still red and peeling despite 2 weeks of intensive treatment. Beside him, Minho and Jinna looked equally damaged, but they stood tall, facing the council that would decide their fate. You stole a Concorde vessel, said Derek, his blue face stern. You disobeyed direct orders. You put yourselves in deadly danger without permission. Yes, said Jeho simply. No excuse. No defense. A murmur ran through the chamber. Most species would have tried to explain away their actions, Humans accepted them. And yet, continued a different counselor, a small furry being named Lyra. You saved 4 worlds from destruction. The death count could have been in the billions if that defense system had continued its attacks. Screens around the chamber showed images from the ancient structure. The defense system was now dormant, reprogrammed to recognize all conquered species as friendly. The spheres that had once attacked ships now floated peacefully in space. The question before this council, said Derek, is what to do with these rule breakers. An older counselor stood up. I have served on this council for 60 years. In that time I have seen the Concord grow, but also become slow. Careful, sometimes too careful. He looked directly at the 3 humans. These Deathworlders did what we could not. They acted when action was needed. Because they broke the rules, said another counselor angrily. Because they could survive what we could not, corrected Lyra. The radiation would have killed any of our enforcement teams before they reached the control center. A new voice spoke up, a Vril representative, her fur still singed from the attacks on her world. My people ask why we have rules that prevent saving lives. Is that what the Concord has become? A place where following procedure matters more than survival? The debate continued for hours. Jeho stood silently, saving his strength for when it mattered. Finally, Derek called for order. Before we vote on your punishment, he said to Jeho, do you wish to speak? Jeho stepped forward, his movements slow and painful. I do not ask forgiveness for breaking your rules. I would do it again to save those lives. He gestured to the screens showing the peaceful spheres. That ancient system saw all new life as a threat because it had been programmed to fear difference. The Concord has done the same with humans. A shocked silence fell over the chamber. You fear us because we are different, continued Jeho. Because we come from a world that would kill most of you. But our strength, our ability to survive, our willingness to take risks, these are not threats. They are tools like any others. Tools that saved lives when rules could not. Minho stepped forward, his voice weak but clear. The ancients who built that defense system died out because they could not adapt to change. They could only follow their old programming. Gina joined them. We don't ask you to remove all rules. We ask you to see that sometimes. New problems need new solutions. Derek looked troubled. And who decides when rules should be broken? You? No, said Jeho. All of us together. But the Conquered must learn to act quickly when lives are at stake, and it must learn to use the strengths of all its members, even those you fear. The council voted that evening. The humans were found guilty of breaking Conquered regulations. Their punishment was set, a formal reprimand to be recorded in all official histories. But something else was recorded too. A new division was created, the Deathworlder Response Unit. Its purpose was to handle dangers that normal Concord procedures could not address quickly enough. Jeho was named its first director. 6 months later, Jeho stood in a new office in the Concord headquarters. His skin had healed, though some scars remained. On his desk sat a small crystal sphere, a miniature version of the ancient defense systems probes, now a symbol of the new division. Derek entered the office looking uncomfortable. The first training class begins today. 20 species have volunteered to work with humans. I'm surprised you approved this, said Jeho. I did not want to, admitted Derek, but the council voted and I have been thinking about what you said, about fear of difference. He looked out the window at the stars. For 1,000,000 years, the Conquered has grown by making rules. Rules kept us safe, kept peace between worlds. But the galaxy is changing. New threats appear. Old dangers return. And sometimes rules must change, finished Jeho. Yes, said Derek reluctantly. Sometimes they must. A group of beings entered the outer office, the first trainees for the new division. Humans were among them, but so were Vrils and Tari and a dozen other species. Each brought different strengths, different ways of thinking. Will you teach them to break rules? Asked Derek, still worried. Jeho smiled. I will teach them to save lives, Sometimes that means following rules. Sometimes it means finding a new path when the old one fails. He picked up the crystal sphere from his desk. The ancients who built the defense system thought they could protect themselves by destroying anything different. They died out. We will survive by working together, using our differences as strength. Derek nodded slowly. I hope you are right, human. Call me J-Ho, he said, extending his hand in the human gesture of friendship. After a moment's hesitation, Derek reached out his blue hand and took it. Across the galaxy, the story spread of the day, Deathworlders broke the rules and changed the galaxy forever.